Sorry for the lack of video last week. I'm exhausted. It's very important that I repeat this, but I am shipping during a pandemic during the week of Black Friday. I've made the executive decision to pass away, is what I'm saying. A long time ago, probably about a year ago, there was that one video where I attempted to explain gender, and I ultimately failed, but I did my best. And one of the things I said, it was like a small side rant in the beginning of the video. I went off about how it's super fucking weird to me that they're trying to find a gay gene. I find it really weird that scientists are looking into biologically why gay people are the way they are. I always find bioessentialism and the medicalization of queer people odd. It seems dehumanizing to a certain extent. I got a lot of, I feel like, trans medicalists and people that medicalize queer people and like to insert bioessentialism as a means of, trying to appeal to cishets, And they responded, well, I don't think it's like that. I think it's very innocent. They're just, doing their job, trying to figure out the universe. It's not like that. They don't see it as they're trying to figure out why you're a mutant. That sort of optimism you have right there is the type of optimism that annoys the hell out of me because it completely ignores the history involved with such matters. This optimism that these scientists that are searching for a gay gene are just doing so of innocence is too optimistic. I'm here to explain why it's kind of insulting. Like I said, searching for a gay gene insinuates that they're trying to figure out why we're mutants. They do the same thing for trans people and the brain scans, which the brain scans are bullshit, and I'll say that until the day I die. The brain scans are bullshit. Now, just to that, which is what I said in the video, you could be like, well, it could just be innocent. They just want to know how the world works. Here's why it's different, okay? The reason why I know it's not this innocent explanation you are giving me is because it does not compare to other situations. Well, first and foremost, we're dealing with a marginalized group, so already different. But second of all, it doesn't compare to more innocent situations. For example, when scientists were trying to figure out the cause of blue and brown eyes, scientists investigated both of these scenarios. They investigated why people have blue eyes. They investigated why people have brown eyes. Both of these situations are being investigated for genes and other mechanisms in, your body. In terms of this gay gene nonsense, a straight gene was not being explicitly investigated. They were just searching for a gay gene. A little side note, I guess, when I was looking through some of these studies and like the articles summing them up, right, it felt like they knew that it was wrong that they were doing that. Like they understood that it was kind of sus. So they tried to make it seem like they were investigating straight people as well, but like they weren't. Like straight people were part of the studies, but it was only for the purpose of comparing straight genes and gay genes. They were not explicitly at any point looking specifically for a straight gene. And it's just so funny to me that they like subtly tried to hide that because it occurred to them that mayhaps that's a little sus. So they tried to word it in a way that made it seem like straight people were held to the same standard in the studies as gay people, but they weren't. I don't know. I just found it funny. It could just be my interpretation of these articles, but it just felt like a subtle misdirection to cover their asses. But anyways, if this truly were about gay people, queer people in general, not being a genetic mutant monster to scientists that they need to explain with biology, they would have just gone with the evolutionary explanation. Held them to the same standard as straight people. Straight people were not investigated for a straight gene. Gay people were investigated for a gay gene. Straight people are held to a evolutionary theory. gay people are somehow, for some reason, held to a bioessentialism aspect of why they exist. This is my problem. This is why it does not add up to me that this could possibly be innocent. If you were truly holding them to the same standards and you didn't see gay people as some mutant, maybe you would hold gay people to the evolutionary explanation, which I will give you in a second, or you would search for a straight gene without necessarily, making gay people the focus of that study. Maybe just, an outlier to look at, but not the focus of the study. Just a straight gene focused study. But that doesn't exist. That's my problem with it, really, is that all of the evidence adds up to these scientists are treating gay people like they're biomutants, like some weird deviants. Scientists could have very well went with the evolutionary gay explanation. At that point, looking into, genetics or whatnot for curiosity's sake would not have been as bad, especially if they added, an interest in the straight genes as well. But they didn't do that. They could have just went, oh, humans are pack animals. Humans are a very social creature. Sex is a social activity at times for humans to become closer and connect. So gayness is just another way for the pack to become closer and therefore survive. There you go. There's your evolutionary explanation. It is so easy to explain gayness. I also have a problem with medicalizing queerness in general, and I've went over this in depth in the past. Medicalizing transness, medicalizing same-sex attraction behavior. It never goes well. First and foremost, it's an insult. I'm not a disease, you fucking dolt. Second of all, medicalizing queerness has a huge fucking history of being a weapon against the queer community. They would use the medicalization of queerness, much like they use the medicalization and, bioessentialistic aspect of race to oppress people. Queer people would be sent to mental asylums and lobotomized because of medicalizing queerness. I have a quote from a postdoctoral researcher at the Broad Institute. It's from an article called Is Sexual Orientation Genetic? Yes and No, an Extensive Study Finds. The article's by Jonathan Jacobson in 2019. Some experts agree with me that medicalizing and, forcing bioessentialism onto queer people is kind of odd and dangerous. Quote, as a queer person and a geneticist, I struggle to understand the motivations behind a genome-wide association study for non-heterosexual behavior, Joseph Vitti, a postdoctoral researcher at the Broad Institute, wrote on his blog, adding, I have yet to see a compelling argument that the potential benefits of this study outweigh its potential harms. The results presented not only oversimplify the question of biological casualty, but also threaten direct damage by perpetuating the stereotype of LGBTQIA people as imprudent, while also likening same-sex attraction to a medical or psychological disorder. I'm not the only one that sees a problem with this. Actual experts also see a problem with this. And overall, my biggest problem with studies like these and the necessity to insert bioessentialism into every fucking conversation is the eugenics aspect of it. Another reason why I don't find this shit very innocent is because, that's fucking dangerous. If we somehow survive climate change, the biggest issues that we are going to face afterwards is the technological revolution, which will end up collapsing capitalism and socialism, any monetary-based economic system. But we are also going to be facing a eugenics crisis. What I'm saying is we are looking at a future where rich people can play dress up genetically with their child in the womb. The government and, congregations of rich people will have access to technologies that can wipe out certain groups of people. I'm talking about genetic genocide. I don't think it's very safe to be looking for a gay gene. Because now that you've found this gay gene in like 30 to 25% of people, of gay people at least, the future's bleak. And like, people might take that as like a conspiracy theorist thing, and it's like, no, it's not. Unfortunately, this is not a conspiracy theory that I'm spouting right now. The United States specifically is known for eugenicist ideology. The United States is so good at eugenics that Nazi Germany learned from the United States when implementing its, eugenicist projects. So what I'm saying is the United States is no stranger to eugenics, and I don't think that's going to end very soon. And I do think that this could possibly spell some problems when we get to gene editing technologies. It's very dangerous for a lot of different marginalized groups. They sterilized gay men in the United States back in the day. That's eugenics. The United States is no stranger to eugenics, and I'm saying that looking for a, gay gene and possibly finding one spells a lot of danger for us. It's not a conspiracy theory. The United States is no stranger to eugenics. Any other, fascist regime across the world has taken notes from the United States in regards to eugenics. We are a powerhouse for eugenics. I'm concerned, to say the very least. When it comes to marginalized groups, at least, be critical of the shit like this. Always be critical. You don't have to be Karen and the 5G towers, but just be critical, at the very least, because this is potentially dangerous.